Hey, welcome back to Tips, Tricks, and Item Makes with MDL Crochet. This week is a tip, and it is going to be Tunisian Crochet in the round. There's several ways you could do this. First, you need a double-ended crochet hook, one that is equal in size on both sides. Now, you have these shorter ones. They sell them at Joann's. I believe they may also sell them at Hobby Lobby. I do not think so at Michael's. You have longer ones that the hooks are alternating. One's up and one's down. And then they have the metal ones at Joann's. I do know that. You're also going to need a stitch marker. So when you join your initial chain, you know where your row begins for every one up. And of course, you're going to need some scissors. And two colors, either the same two balls, either the same color or different colors, doesn't matter, as they will work up. I did a little color switch up here on the last row versus what I did normally throughout the rest of the project. And you can use the knit stitch with this. You can use the reverse stitch, purl stitch, and you could even use the full stitch in this. Because the full stitch is just a constant loop through everything. There's no return pass and rows that's going to govern the offset. So you could use those stitches for it. But with all that being said, let's get to it. But for this, we're just going to use this smaller one. It's a 6mm. I'm just going to go ahead and pull up some loops. And we're going to get started. Alright, I got my chain done. This is not a specific size, but I want to let you know how we're going to be doing this. Now, to work in the round, what we're trying to do is make our ends meet up. So then we can start building up on them. That's what we're trying to do. So you're going to take your chain. Make sure it's all going the same way. And then you're just going to fold it. And you're going to, just like what I'm doing, keeping it all nice, your chain has to be on the outside. Make sure everything is on the outside. Because if you get a twist in there, the twist can ruin everything. I'm going to show you the first way. So I'm going to go ahead and just pull all the way through. I'm locking it in place. Now, one way you can do this, and this is the way I normally do it, is I work in the back bumps. I like the way the back bumps look when you're doing it in and around, because you get that nice clean edge that comes with Tunisian when you work in the back bumps. Now, some people don't. Some people will go straight to the chain. Either way is fine, as long as you're doing it and you're not twisting and you don't have a twist on your product, then go for it. You know, there's no, either way is fine. Because I like having that nice clean edge, like right there. I like having that nice clean edge. So I like to go through the bumps. Also, if you have an issue with your chain twisting as you're getting ready to join it, what you can do is like get a bowl, get a glass, however big you want it, put the chain, make sure the chain is all one way, stitch it together, remove your bowl. It doesn't matter how you get there, as long as you get there. Now, sometimes you're going to want to go through the actual chain instead of the back bumps. And that is because, well, some things need that, because when you're going through the back bumps, it gives it a little bit of a rigid. It makes it stiff. and it doesn't give it the elasticity there at first. So going through the back bump doesn't have to be your only option. You can go through the chain, which now I've been pulling up these loops on the back bump. Well, I'm going to go ahead and show you through the chain, because either way is fine. So I need to twist my stuff around because Michael got a little special on himself and didn't pay attention. No. Okay, I went ahead and I just untook what I was doing on the back bump off, right? And a lot of that is because I want to start pulling it up on the chain. So we're going to go ahead and pull them up on the chain, and I want to show you that way. This is a lot faster of a way than sitting there hunting for the back bumps. You can just go straight into the chain, and it doesn't create that solid, stiff ridge. It gives it a little bit of movement. It gives it the give, I guess you could say. But I'm going to pull up a few more. You don't want to get too far ahead of your project, and you don't want to get too far away either, because you're going to have to do something here in a moment to where you can start casting these loops off. Because what you put on, you got to cast off, but you're not going to cast off your normal way. We're going to use the other end of the hook to cast off. Okay, so now we're going to do our cast off. And I'm going to bring up another color for that. Some people will lay it down. And let me get all this on. We'll just lay it. This is the side that we want. That's where our tail is. So that's the side we need to start casting off. Some people will just do the standard pull through, because you pull through the first one only, and then you're going to be doing the pull through too. But they just leave it there. I don't like that. As I always say, I don't like that. It's loose and things can happen, and I don't like things happening. So I always do a slip knot, and I make it the same size as my needle. I pull through one, because you're chaining your one. And that's the only time you're ever going to do that with this. And then I'm going to pull through two for the rest. And I'm using two different colors here just so you can get an idea. And that's how you work it. And you'll work it till you have like 3, maybe 4 hoops left on your hook. Because anything more, you're risking losing your whole project. So I'm going to continue pulling up loops. And that is it. We're making our foundation row, right? So we're just going to continue pulling up our loops. Now, if you're doing a stitch that is stitch dependent, or number dependent, count dependent, if it requires an even or odd number, then you'll have to pay attention to your chain. And you can figure it out from there. You know, once you pay attention to your chain and get that count all good and copacetic, then you'll be able to figure out, okay, I want to do a smock stitch, or I want to do the mesh stitch, or whatever. Then once you figure all that out, it'll be a lot easier to switch your stitches up. But as you see, we're just constantly pulling through 2. You never do the chain 1 again. You only do it at the beginning. The beginning is on your pull through, on your return pass. I don't even know if you want to call this a return pass. I mean, yes, it is, but you're not returning anything. You're still just building up. So when you're doing it in the round, I just call it your pull through, because of the simple fact that we're not doing a return pass. We're almost to where we added our other color. I'm going to try to put this into the middle, because I like my tails in the middle when I'm working. Come on, tail. Oh, I didn't want to cooperate. There we go. We're almost there. And this is where we kind of get to start our whatever stitch you picked. What I'm going to do, and this is what I like to do all the time, is right here is where this is our last stitch. I like to put a stitch marker right there. We're going to put it here because it's our first stitch. Because I know from then on, going up, that's where I'm at. Now we're just going to do the simple stitch for this. It's simple, it's easy, and why not? You could do the knit stitch, you can do a purl stitch, reverse stitch. If you got your numbers right, you could do the full, you can do any stitch with this. Majority of any stitch. And it's very simple and easy once you understand that you got to keep your chain facing one way together when you make the circle. When you join them, once you get the chain in its place and you could start pulling up your loops, it makes it so much easier. And we're about to start literally our second round here, working on our second round. We've just been building up our foundation row. So now we're gonna, there we are. Now we just started, well, now we're starting our second round. And that's all you do. This is all there is to in the round. And for in the round, you'd handle color changes just like you normally would. Like I have showed before, just handle color changes like that. There's no rule set way to handle it. Just handle it how you want to handle it. And we're building up. I'm going to build up quite a few more rows so you can get an idea. I don't want this tutorial to be long, but I want to show how easy in the round really is. People think it's not, but it really is. And Tunisian can be easy, Tunisian can be hard. But once you start getting a good amount built up on this, I twisted my needle. That's another thing you got to be careful about. That happens too. Just keep building up. Just a big old circle. It's all you're doing. Having some fun with the circle. And when you start building up, it's going to take its shape. And let me tell you, you're going to like how it looks. You can already see how it's looking. I'm going to do several more rows off camera, and then I'll show you how to close off. But I'm going to finish this little bit with you guys. We're starting our third row. Doesn't matter. Whatever you want to make it for, you make it. You know, if, like I said, you can make beanies this way, and I'm going to be making some beanies here soon. So this is the method I'm going to use. You could use the slouchy beanie method, where you actually have to do some crochet stitching, sewing, whatever you want to call it. Those are fine too. I'm going to teach a method on that, so that way when they're done to where you don't have the hard brim of this edge against your head when you're doing it in normal Tunisian. It's just a flat piece, and you sew the edges together, but you kind of work it sideways, so that way you don't have that harder edge. And not only that, you get the bottom and the top. Well, guess what? Those make it easier to sew together. Your stitches will be sideways, but you know, if you have a bulkier of a yarn, you won't notice it. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and finish up several more rows so you can see what this will truly look like in the round. And then we'll be back once I'm there. See you in a minute. Okay, so I'm here even with where we would have started at the very beginning. I'm going to show you a little trick. Now this can be done again in any stitch. Like, I prefer to do this in the knit stitch. But I'm going to show you a little trick. We're going to do the return pass or pass through. And remember to try to keep at least 2 to 3 of your main color on here. But what we're going to do a little trick here. We're going to go ahead and just do that to where you have one main color and one pull through color, because now we're switching colors. So what we'll do is you take your pass through color or return color, and you're going to move that forward, and they have to be close, so there has to be within this distance, and start pulling up your loops with that other color. And again, I'll show you one more time. You just keep it close. Just take the yarn, bring it forward, and that's how you're just going to do it. And then start pulling up your loops. You can do it in the knit stitch, the reverse stitch, or the purl. And you're just going to do that all the way until you want to switch colors again. And it's that simple. I'm going to finish this row, and then I'm going to show you how to close off. Now what you're going to do is you're going to yarn over, and then you're going to pull through 2. That's how you're going to do handle that color change. Yarn over and pull, just yarn over, pull through 2. That's all it is. Alright, we're coming up to where we did our color change, which tells me we're coming up to where the last of our row is. So this is how we're going to handle this to get all of this off. Okay, we're going to go ahead and end this off. So just what you'll do is you'll just keep passing through. Do your normal. You're going to go through all of them but the last one. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and snip our line. And now, how we're going to handle this is we're going to just slip stitch. Now what we're going to do is do our Tunisian slip stitch. And you're going to do that all the way around, and that's how you would close this project off. If you're doing a beanie, etc., I will be showing those here soon of how to do the beanies and how to decrease how to decrease on a beanie and how to close it off, cinch it, and weave in your tails. Because it is pretty simple to weave in tails. Everybody knows how to weave in tails for the most part. With in the round, you have to turn it inside out to handle that. But it's very, very easy to do. Okay, I'm going to go finish this up, and then we'll be talking at the end. See you in just a second. Okay, we're just about there. And we are. So, we go to the last one, the very first one, right? And we're here. That's the first color change. So you're going to go back and then go in the middle. You can go through the actual stitches, pull up your loop, and pull one through and slip it off. And of course, I like to do one extra. Snip it, and you're good. Tighten it down. And then when you weave it in, everything's all good. There's a few ways you could handle that. You could have stopped just a little bit one more early and done it there. You could have gotten one more and go inside of there. There's just a few different ways to show it off, but I like to end it where it begins. And that's going to give you a little bit of a bulkier part because where you're ending it is also where you began it. Which is fine, especially, if you're making a beanie, this will be part of your top. And then you'd close it off. Or if you're making a sleeve, well, this will be either your part of your top of your sleeve or the bottom of your sleeve, and you'll be either stitching it onto your sweater, or you're going to be stitching it onto, or stitching a ribbing all the way around it. So there's several ways to handle that. But that is the basis of Tunisian crochet in the round. With that being said, if you can give me a like and subscribe, I'd greatly appreciate it. And remember, folks, keep stitching.